welcome back to Love Your Food. Today we have another recipe you're going to love. We have fajitas for you today. We're doing some beef fajitas today. Now this is not so much home cooking, this is more of a restaurant recipe. Chef Caleb worked in restaurants for a long time. And this is something you normally see in a Tex-Mex kind of restaurant. It's usually accompanied by a number of smaller side dishes. So our ingredients today for the marinade, we're going to start with some soy sauce and Worcester sauce and some garlic. And today we're using skirt steak. Other meat also works for this. You can also use flank steak, chicken, shrimp. You can make this a vegetarian dish if you like. We're starting with our garlic. We're just going to give this a nice little chop. If you want to make a vegetarian version of this, we do recommend grilling eggplant, zucchini, portobello mushrooms, and you can use that instead of the meat of your choice. And you can use this same marinade for any of those things. So we want to get that garlic nicely minced, pretty small. This is from a friend of ours actually, grew this here in Toronto with us. And into our bowl. And then the liquid portion here is going to be more or less equal parts dark soy sauce and Worcestershire sauce. There we go. Now you do want enough that it's going to cover all of the meat that you have, so if you have more meat, of course you're going to want to make more of this. This recipe, of course, is completely scalable, really easy to move up and down if you have more or less fajita to make. So we're just going to get our skirt steak in there. Now, as I said, you can also use something like flank steak. You can use chicken. Shrimp goes well in this. Big, meaty portobello mushroom caps are excellent in this marinade as well, if you don't want to use meat. We're just going to get that all covered in our marinade there. Now we're going to, once we have a good coverage on that, we're just going to let it sit for a little while. We're going to cover that up. You can leave it in the fridge or you can leave it out. We're going to let it marinate for 1 to 2 hours minimum. You can also do this overnight. If you do it overnight, we do recommend that you put it in the fridge. And then we're going to be grilling this. We have our charcoal grill. But we're also going to be adding some veggies. We've got some onion, some poblano peppers, and some just regular white mushrooms here. And we're going to get everything sliced up pretty roughly. We don't want really small pieces of everything. They're all going to get cooked together. And this is going to be that, if you think of how a fajita normally comes out on a sizzling cast iron pan in the restaurant, it's all got all those nice veggies underneath. So poblano peppers have this little indentation on the top. This is how Chef Caleb normally deals with this. He cuts that top ring off, then he takes the middle out. You want to get all your seeds out of there. And then just nice sized rings. They don't have to be perfect. As I said, they're all going to get cooked together. I'm just going to set those aside until it's time to get everything cooked. And here we go. Take the other one out. So it's good to do this while your meat is marinating. Of course, you're going to have lots of spare time between putting that meat in the marinade and letting it hit the grill. Right now we're waiting for our fire to get hot. We're also going to cut up our onion. Now, for fajita, we generally like making fair-sized rings of onion. So we're just going to cut this into rounds. Chef Caleb will show you about how thick we want it. If you're not sure, exactly how accurate you are with your knife. You are of course, always free to use a mandolin with for this. We showed you the mandolin in the pickle making recipe. Alright, so it is time for our meat to hit the grill. Our grill's nice and hot, so that meat is going to go on there. Instant sizzle. Now, of course, skirt steak and flank steak are very thin, so this is not going to be on there very long. You also want to cook it a little more rare than you normally might, because it's going to get a little more cooking after it's done on the grill. So the grill is just to get that nice smoky grill flavor, that really summery, excellent flavor on there. Here we go. This is about halfway done. You can see here, we're going to flip it over. Oh, look how great that is. So we're just going to get that flipped over so both sides get nice and seared. If you notice that one area is hotter than the others, do shift your steak around so that it's cooking more evenly. And here go our veggies. So we've got a nice hot pan over a fire. We're going to start by adding our onions in there. And we want to get a lot of good color on these. We're going to get the onions in the pan, followed by the peppers. We basically want these in the order that they will take to cook. So peppers next, and on top of all that, you're going to have your mushrooms. Now we're just going to let that cook for a little while. A little dash of salt. And some of the juice from the onions will come out while they're cooking. And we're just going to let that cook for a little while. Meanwhile, we're going to go back and check on our steak again. And these are looking fantastic. So these are just about done, honestly. They're a little rarer than we would normally cook them, but as I said, they are going to get a little bit more time in the pan once all is said and done. So our veggies are starting to get some really nice color in there. We're just going to stir those up a little bit. Some of our poblano pepper escaping. Now, you don't have to use poblano if that's a little too spicy for you. You can always just use bell peppers. That's fine. If you want to use something a little bit hotter, jalapenos, also fine. Cubanelles, you are in control of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to slice up our skirt steak a little bit here. Now, very important, you want to slice this into sections so that when you're cutting your strips of beef, you're going to slice across the grain, and then you get these beautiful, tender strips of beef instead of really tough little overcooked morsels of meat. Can't stress it enough. You want to find the direction of the grain and cut across the grain, not with it. So this is rested for a little while. You definitely want to board with the channel because, as I said, we cooked a little bit rarer than normal, so it's going to be pretty juicy. And we're going to slice that into nice strips. And yeah, that's going to go in with our veggies now. The veggies have some good color. We're going to add our beef and all of that great juice that came off them. So that's the juice from the beef mixed with that marinade. And that's just all going to go in that pan to sizzle for a little while. So it's going to get a little more cooking done while it's in the pan with these veggies. Largely from steam, actually, because the heat from the bottom is getting some of those juices turned into steam. It's going to cook that meat a little bit further. Now, if you don't have a cutting board with the channel, you can put your cutting board inside a sheet pan or something else like that. You definitely want those juices. And this is when you're going to add the juice from about half a lime as well. We had a half a lime left over from our guacamole from last week, which is going to make a guest appearance here. So we have some refried beans on a flour tortilla, a little bit of our guacamole. We have some amazing smoked salsa from a little local place that makes amazing salsa. some of our beef, a little bit of our veggies. And there you go. Let everyone make their own fajitas. We usually put a trivet down in the middle of the table and put a bunch of nice hot flour tortillas out, and everyone can make their own fajitas. Of course, you can add cheese to this as well, anything you like. And that's it. Super easy. A little bit of back and forth on that one, but really, really tasty. Great restaurant-style fajitas that you can make at home. They don't take a whole lot of time. That beef cooks in no time at all. And there you go. If you like this recipe, please do like and subscribe. And if there's any other recipes you'd like to see Chef Caleb try on the channel, let us know in the comments below. And remember to love your food.